Skywars. Blah blah blah, something about battle royale in the sky. Look, I tried the Skywars game mode on 6 Minecraft Bedrock Edition servers to try and figure out which one was the best. Stick around to hear my opinion on each of them. Also, this isn't a joke, I've legitimately had some people telling me recently that YouTube has been unsubscribing them from my channels, so be sure to check to make sure that you are subscribed. Just look right below the video and check to see if you're subscribed. That's all, enjoy the video. So I did a video like this, but on Bedrock survival games servers a while back, so I'm pretty much going to copy the style from that and just play a few games on it, talk about it in a voiceover, and then list some of the pros and cons of the server. So without further ado, let's just start it off with the Hive. Now I will say that I'm still going to remain as unbiased as possible, and I do even have some criticisms to give towards the Hive in their Skywars game mode. Hive Skywars is actually a horrible representation of like normal Skywars because the entire premise of the Hive's version of it is to basically be lucky blocks. You mine an ore and it drops a random item from a specific class of items that come from a certain ore. And in normal Skywars, the chests are generally the most RNG that you get in the game. But in Hive Skywars, you get the same items out of the chests on your island every single game for the most part. I honestly think this is what makes Skywars really fun, but sometimes you can get really bad luck and it can screw you over a bunch. I know this is kind of already a known thing, but also the level of PvP on the Hive is just higher than any of the other servers I played on. I mean, it's kind of what you get when you have a server with 30,000 people on at a time, but I'm just gonna put that out there that this is probably where you're gonna get the best fights and PvP, and I guess the most tryhards and sweats, which can be a good and bad thing depending on your own skill level. All in all, I think Hive's version of Skywars is a really fun take on the game, but it might not be the best for new players. There are things like the barrier walls for the first 30 seconds of the game that protect new players from people coming to their island and give them a little bit of time to loot up, but I don't think that's enough, and I still think the PvP and just the rest of the game playing out and the randomness of the items that you can get might not make it that fun for new players trying out Skywars. However, a version of Skywars that might be more friendly to new players is Mineplex's Skywars. Now, coming into recording this, I didn't even know in the first place that Mineplex even had Skywars. Mineplex just really isn't that well known for Skywars, and I guess they don't really advertise it either, to be completely honest. Now, there are a couple things that you should know about Mineplex. First, it's probably the server most well known for the amount of cheaters that it has, but luckily, I actually didn't run into any on Skywars today. I'm not sure if it's a game mode that's popular for cheaters or not, but I didn't see any, so that was pretty cool to see. And second of all, the Bedrock Mineplex server can be kind of laggy at some times. As you can see, I connected, I was in the lobby, and my game crashed when I tried to join Skywars because it was lagging that badly. I know for a fact that this was not my connection, it was just Mineplex's that was not doing well at that moment. Now, once I actually got in and played some games, I'll say I was pleasantly surprised. It was pretty much a no BS, just chests on an island in the sky in Minecraft. Pretty much, you loot the chests on your island, rush mid, get the diamond gear out of the mid chest, and that's how the game plays out. Now, by me saying that there's not that much to it, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because that's kind of what Mineplex is known for, at least on their Bedrock server. Back when they had survival games on their Bedrock server, it was also a very generic survival games, but it was almost refreshing to play just because it's a very vanilla experience, and it's what you think of when you play Skywars. Now, finally, back to what I was saying about it being more friendly for new players. It seemed like 90% of the people that I fought on this server were on a phone or controller, so most of the fights were very easy and were won pretty easily. All I'm saying is that if you're a Windows 10 player, you might get bored on the server very quickly. Nonetheless, not that bad of an experience on Mineplex, honestly. Fun Skywars, good job Mineplex. Next up to the plate is NetherGames. Now, if you watch Pocket Gaming, you'll probably know what's coming. And if you don't, well, you're in for a treat here. Oh cool, NetherGames has all of the same Skywars maps that Hypixel Skywars does. They even have all of the same kits that Hypixel does as well, and oh wait, you have to buy a rank for it. Ah yes, blatantly infringing on Hypixel's copyrights and profiting on it while they do so. Just because you say the map is property of Hypixel does not make you immune from a lawsuit when Hypixel finds out. Good one, NetherGames. There's also a few other reasons that I don't like and won't support NetherGames, and someone else that I know is making a video on it, so if that video is out by the time that this video goes up, there will be a card up in the top right you can click on to see why. Now, are you guys ready for another train wreck that you knew was coming, but you still can't stop? It's time for Lifeboat. Lifeboat is another one of those servers that I refuse to support, mainly because they don't listen to their player base at all, and their only motive is to make as much profit as possible off of the 10-year-olds that play their server and don't know any better. Not to go too deep into that, because that's a different video that'll come out at some point. Now, if you've seen any footage of what current Lifeboat is like, you'll know that it's the laggiest piece of ever. No one in their right mind would play on Lifeboat and think, ah yes, I am having a great time and my hits are registering properly and on time. Because they don't. At all. The maps are also really unintuitive, and they don't make sense at all. I can't find all of the chests that are supposed to be on my island. The players on my server also don't really seem to have an idea of what's going on, which furthers my earlier point that they're probably 10-year-olds that don't know any better and are just playing on the server because it was the first one they clicked on. To sum it all up, Lifeboat now just seems like a lazy attempt at a server, and it's sad to see how far they've fallen since their glory days. The fact that there's still a featured server on Bedrock baffles me, to be completely honest. Nonetheless, the next server is HyperLands, and they're another Hypixel clone. I guess the plus side is that they have their own main lobby now, instead of blatantly ripping off Hypixel's Skywars lobby. And I guess they have their own maps now, but they also still use Hypixels, and also don't even give any credit to Hypixel. You really love to see it. Being completely honest, I didn't really have a bad time playing on the server, but the thing that irks me is, like NetherGames, HyperLands is just blatantly stealing Hypixel's property again, which is something that I don't support. Either way, let's move on to the final server, Cubecraft. Alright, so I've actually done content on Cubecraft before in the form of survival games, but I've never tried out their Skywars. Now, Cubecraft Skywars, in my experience, pretty much played out like Mineplex's. It was fairly similar loot, but just different maps. That being said, I did not have a good time at all when I played on Cubecraft for this video. Something to note is that Cubecraft and their servers are based in the UK, I'm pretty sure, and I live in the US. Naturally, that means that I'll have high ping on the server, which usually isn't that big of an issue, but for whatever reason, Cubecraft today was not having it, and the server was more laggy than ever. Speed bridges weren't working, blocks weren't placing, hits were taking a million years to register. I was just not having a good day on the server, to be completely honest. Like I said earlier, it's a very similar style to Mineplex, including the players on the server. Most of them were probably on phones or controllers, so the fights were easy for the most part. I don't necessarily think Cubecraft is a bad server, but for people who are in North America, it might just be better to get the same experience on Mineplex, since Cubecraft is in Europe and you'll get really high ping and lag on the server. Now, I think that's all the servers that I have for today, and I will say that my favorite server is probably the Hive, but there is some bias in that because I do mainly play on the Hive and I'm very used to it. Let me know what your favorite Skywars server is, or if I forgot to mention one that you really like, down in a comment below. Also, subscribe with post notifications on if you want to know when I post videos and when I go live. That's going to wrap it up for the video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.